What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel as we continue our early 2020 NFL draft prep. We got 2 positions left, and today we're going to be looking at my top 10 cornerbacks in college football. This one here, I spent a lot of time. Usually, you have to get all 22 to get a good read for corners. Got a little bit of that from more so last season. I've used more so and had to rely upon the eye test from watching the games and, really aligning and getting some confirmation, maybe a little confirmation bias from some of the trusted scouting websites that I've seen to just take down my notes that I take from watching the game and confirm that that's really, in fact, what people who have a lot more footage available to them see as well. So it's an important video to me because Philadelphia probably still needs corners and positions that my Eagles desperately need. I do tend to spend a little bit more time on, and obviously a big glaring need is the cornerback position. So before we jump into the top 10, I think really all 10 of these guys, in relation, at least for my Eagles, I'd be happy with any of these 10. And I think everyone within my top 10 is at least a day 2 pick. I think like at 10, like this guy could go 3rd, 4th round, somewhere in that, definitely 3rd, 4th round. I feel comfortable saying that. But we do have a couple of honorable mentions. We have Darnay Holmes from UCLA. I like him as a slot corner. Amik Robertson from LA Tech, small school prospect, but you can't ignore the production. Cameron Dantzler from Mississippi State, big, long, rangy corner. And we have Sean Wade, a redshirt sophomore. Is he going to declare? Is he not going to declare? Obviously, because there's uncertainty there because he's a super underclassman, we just put him at honorable mention for now. So without further ado, jumping into my top 10. At number 10, I have JAYLON Johnson, 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, out of Utah. A very aggressive man cover corner. I do see a lot of tendencies in his game to add that positional flexibility that he could play and transition to safety depending on whatever the DC views his ceiling as. I think because of that flexibility, that is a little bit more added value. But the negative for him is penalty issues. A lot of flags, a lot of laundry on the field when he is up against a bigger, more aggressive corner. I don't know if they're just jawing. I don't know if it's overconfidence in his just physicality, but you will occasionally see a couple unnecessary penalties come from his aggressive style, but that's kind of what you get in him. You know what you're getting. You're getting an aggressive corner, and when you get an aggressive corner, sometimes they struggle with penalties. And, in today's NFL, I don't know, that's definitely going to work against them because you can review pass interference and all that stuff. But still, generally speaking, if you do run a man defense and your DC is aggressive, a guy like JAYLON Johnson should be a very, very intriguing prospect. And I kind of have him right now as, late 3rd, early 4th round pick, somewhere in that range. Going to corner number 9, I have Thomas Graham Sr., 5'11", 190 pounds, out of Oregon. Good athlete, great ball skills. He's a pretty solid tackler, too, for being slightly under the prototypical size. He's productive. He has 7 interceptions in 3 years so far for Oregon. I think he could play inside and outside because of his tackling ability. The Draft Network hinted they think he could potentially be better suited as a safety. I don't see that as much as I saw with JAYLON Johnson, but sure, why not? If anytime you get a guy that's a cover that can also tackle, that's a willing tackler, you always have that that voice in the back of the head, like, hey, move him to safety. Maybe we can get better production at him at safety. But so sure, I feel I would note that. But I do think he has a limited ceiling. I do think you're getting as close to a finished product as you can get, maybe more so than anyone on this list with Thomas Graham. So because he has a limited ceiling, whereas, he might be a point or 2 higher on my list based on pure talent because he doesn't have as high or as much upside as any other guys on this list. For me, he's going to be sitting here at number 9. Going to corner number 8, we have TERRELL, 6'1", 190, out of Clemson. He has great size, near prototypical size. He's a press man corner, good athlete, getting a lot of Trevon Mullen vibes from him. Disappointing tackler for his size, though. You'd figure a guy that's 6'1", long, rangy, built pretty well, not overly thin, would be a solid tackler. Trevon Mullen for Clemson, even though he didn't have the really any production whatsoever. But Trevon Mullen, who's now a member of the Raiders, he actually was a solid, willing tackler. And a lot of people in the scouting community kind of said he would be a prime candidate to slide over to safety. And he might do it. I mean, the safeties in Oakland, soon to be Vegas. Karl Joseph, he was on the trade block. You got LaMarcus Joyner. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's going to be 30 in a year or so. Maybe they view Trevon Mullen as an eventual safety. And you look at a guy like TERRELL, pretty much stepped in that role as like the long, lengthy, rangy outside corner for Clemson, but not really the same style as Trevon Mullen, as his tackling is kind of a letdown. He has that LSU tackling. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Going to corner number 7. This is the guy that I think out of all these corners can rise in my list. That is Jeff Gladney, 6 feet tall, 190 pounds out of TCU. He's a sprinter, elite speed. Would not be shocked if he ends up running the fastest 40 at the combine. Can play a high level in man and zone. I think he's a little bit better of a man because he can use his speed just to say, I'm a better athlete than you. You're not going to beat me downfield. Potential to be a top 5 corner in my rankings. Like I said, I think right now he could go as high as 3 when all is said and done. Like if he balls out like I think he could potentially ball out at the combine, I'm going to have no issues whatsoever because he's kind of off the beaten path right now. He's a fringe top 10 corner, if not just outside the top 10, depending on what site you use for your rankings. But the tape don't lie. He is a very, very intriguing prospect. I would definitely love my Philadelphia Eagles to target him, especially if we let Ronald Darby walk. Darby for the Eagles, I don't want to just try to make this an Eagles video, but Darby for the Eagles is really the only corner we have that has elite straight line speed. Of Maddox, kind of, but he's more of a DB. He's not necessarily always going to be a corner. He's a slot safety. He really does everything. But for a pure corner on the Eagles, Darby's our only fast guy. He's going to bounce. I think a guy like Gladney is a better version of a Ronald Darby. The negative for Gladney, he's not the strongest. Will struggle versus bigger wide receivers, which, I mean, again, you're not, unless you get that elite, this guy's going top 5, top 10, that's good at everything. There's always going to be a downside when you're more of a speedier, shiftier corner, and you will struggle against bigger wide receivers. So hopefully, you get a smart DC that will put you in positions to not go up against big power guys. Going to corner number 6, we have PAULSON ADEBO, 6'1", 185 out of Stanford. Absolute insane production in only 2 years and 21 games for Stanford, 8 interceptions, 27 pass breakups. A physical corner. He was actually my number 3 corner. And although he has 4 interceptions in 8 games this year, I must have just been watching the bad ones. Because he was one of my top cornerback prospects. Because I know Philly loves getting Pac-12 players. So I was like, all right, might as well look at all the top Pac-12 corners because they're most likely going to end up on the Eagles. And I was like, ADEBO looked really good last year. He looked really, really good. I was like, all right, I'm sold. And I haven't watched a whole lot of Stanford games this year. They've obviously been down, but every time I've watched him play, inconsistent. Has not been good. Lots of ups, lots of downs. I haven't seen him play a complete game yet, which is a little bit disappointing. It could just be I've been watching the wrong games. I haven't seen his strong games, but for right now, I definitely need to see it a little bit more. But much like Gladney, I definitely could see him shifting up a couple spots in my list. Corner 5 is BRYCE Hall, 6'1", 200 pounds from Virginia. He's coming off a season-ending ankle injury in 2019. Which, I mean, there's always a chance. There's a little bit of a medical red flag. Could slip down the board just a little bit, but it looks like he will be recovered in time for all of the offseason activities. Now, he is a pro football focused darling. Take that for what it's worth. But he brings prototypical size. He's great in run support. I think he brings that versatility that he can place big. He can be like that big slot corner, as well as, handle duties on the outside. So that's good flexibility, but ultimately, I think he's best suited for a zone scheme. So, hey, Philadelphia, we're in that Jim Schwartz zone. I think a guy like BRYCE Hall could be very intriguing. Then again, last time we took a shot, similar but different scenarios with a hurt corner that might have, dripped a little bit in draft stock. Sidney Jones didn't work out well, but I definitely think BRYCE Hall is a very interesting corner. Not an elite athlete. That's why I think he's a little bit more suited to zone. But if you want that physical corner that brings some flexibility inside, outside, I think BRYCE Hall is a very nice target. Going to corner number 4, one I have a lot of experience watching, and that is C.J. Henderson, 6'1", 180 pounds out of Florida. I think a little bit misused right now in Florida scheme, but he's a very good press man corner. He can play on an island, which is a positive. I think the downside is consistency. Has not been very consistent here in 2019. Had some big games. Honestly, he's looked good in our big games, but in our bad games, against Miami, he was awful in the season opener. Struggles versus very physical wide receivers, which is kind of a customary to Gator corners. That's been almost a common trait now. And I don't really know where he's going to fall in terms of athletic ability. We've seen some really bad athletes who are good corners in college, but bad athletes. I'm thinking Tease Tabor was not a great athlete, struggled a little bit in the NFL. And I'm not going to lie, I'm getting a little Tease Tabor vibes from C.J. Henderson. I think he's a little bit better of a corner. He's still going to go, fringe first round, probably more so second round right now. And I don't want to dog my Gators, but I have been, at least with the lack of consistency, when he's good, he's great. Looks like a first round talent, but he will have a bad, ugly, just what is going on type game every now and again that makes me go like, oh, we might have another might have a little bit of a bust on him. So I'm not exactly sure. I want to see how he, that's like I said, we're doing these mid-season. So there's still a whole lot of football left for me to be a little bit more solidified on prospects. And obviously I'm going to have a lot more tape to watch of C.J. Henderson. But the good is very good. Going to corner number 3, we have TREVON Diggs, 6'2", 200 pounds out of Alabama. Prototypical size, great athlete. He had a breakout 2019 season in his senior year. Better suited for zone in the NFL, though. I don't think even though he brings a lot of traits that you want a man corner, I think he's going to be best suited within a zone defense because he struggles tracking the deep ball, does not get his head turned around. He's a good athlete, doesn't get beat deep a lot, but when he does, he kind of looks a little bit clueless there. So I think he's going to be best suited being a little bit off the ball, guarding his zone versus having a guy right in front of him with those kind of responsibilities. I'm not saying he can't be a man because there is traits that are desirable for a man cover corner. I just see his, him best suited in a zone scheme in the NFL. But I think he's another guy could potentially sneak into the first round if he does have a surprising combine. But right now, I think I have a second round grade on Diggs. Going to corner number 2, we have Kristian Fulton, 6'1", 190 out of LSU. Man cover corner. I haven't seen any wide receiver yet in this man defense get the better of him. He's really, really good. I think he's going in the first round. He does have some off the field. He had drug test tampering. That cost him a year at LSU. And he's your classic LSU corner. And I put an asterisk next to this because Trey White is kind of not. He likes to tackle. But usually LSU corners, they don't like to tackle. They're just cover guys. Put them on an island. They will do their job. But if you need them to come up and run support, they're not going to be your dude. And I feel like, in today's NFL, DCs either have, I'm fine with my corners just being corners, or you have people like Jim Schwartz that if you don't tackle, you really don't have a lot of value in his defense. So for Kristian Fulton, if you're a DC, if you have a DC or you want a defense that doesn't require your corner to tackle, you just want them to cover a guy, lock a wide receiver up, Fulton is your dude. And then finishing up with the number 1 corner, it is Jeffrey Okudah, 6'1", 195 out of Ohio State. Man cover corner, elite athlete, elite footwork, noted by a bunch of scouts. I think he has island upside in the NFL. A lockdown corner, should be a top 10 pick. Honestly, you want to look at the build, the mold. Okudah, all big Ohio State corners follow the same mold. So let's compare him to the last big Ohio State corner that was really, really good. Marshawn Lattimore. I think Okudah's a little bit better, to be completely honest with you. I think he has better instincts than what Lattimore had. I think he had better footwork than Marshawn Lattimore had. And that's not the dog at Lattimore. I mean, he had an exceptional rookie year for the Saints. It's been, a little bit more so the last couple of years. Hasn't lived up to the peak of that initial season, but he's still one of the better corners in the National Football League. I think Okudah's going to be very, very elite. He struggles in zone a little bit from time to time, so I think absolutely has to go to a man scheme in the NFL. But without a shadow of a doubt, I think the top-tier corner, I don't think that's going to change, and should go within the first 10 picks. So there you go, guys. Those are my mid-season cornerback top 10 list so far through the college football season in preparation of the 2020 draft. Do you agree or disagree with this list? Did I miss anyone? Did I dog anyone? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.